Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are returning to Ultimate General American Revolution and our Let's Play as playing as the Americans. I believe we're into episode number 7, but I've kind of lost track at this point. It is July 2nd of 1775, and the current strategic position is that the British still hold Boston and Middleborough, I believe with a significant force, not something I can easily assault. That being said, while I think we're still outnumbered before those two towns, we have established a garrison at Providence of 2,500 men. We've established a garrison at Leicester of 1,800 men, which may grow a further 300 into 2,100 men. So just shy of 4,600 soldiers all together between these two towns, which are probably in mutually supporting distance of each other in the same way that Boston and Middleborough are. And so while we could probably take either of these two British towns, if we consolidated our forces here, they could also probably do that if they did likewise. The reason neither party does is because they're both within supporting distance of each other. So a battle for Leicester would likely become a battle for Leicester and Providence, and a battle for Middleborough would likely become a battle for Boston and Middleborough. With that being said, we have managed to hold on to the interior of the rest of our colonies, at least as far as the map allows us to expand. We have taken Fort Rice from the British, sort of here in northern, I think this is in New York. We've taken we hold Albany, and we've taken Fort Saratoga and Fort Montgomery, both in New York as well. And we are in the process of threatening Fort Ticonderoga, which I think has about 1,200 men based on our last intel, but you can see we don't have intel there. It is a level 3 fort, which is a little bit concerning. But we are going to bring 500 more troops from Fort Saratoga north to give us about 2,500 troops. And I think what we're also going to do is we're going to take this garrison of 510 men under Bennington's militia, Jedediah Vaughan, and we will send them to Fort Saratoga as well. So we'll have about a 3,000 man force. As we do that, however, we probably shouldn't leave Fort Rice totally exposed, because it is it's in a bit of a vulnerable position for us, in my opinion. So these guys have 510 men. We could send Hatfield's militia, and it's 400 men, out to Fort Rice, sort of exchange these two for an additional 120 men or so. I was thinking about pulling the 200 men under Elbert Cole, the new regiment here at Leicester, but I don't want to risk inviting a sally out of Boston. We've sort of solidified this position for long enough. You know what? Screw it. Just go back in your towns. That's indecisive me. But I will also pull the 2nd Connecticut under Garrett Bush. And does Bennington have any troops? Fort Rice does. Let's go ahead and send Bush to Fort Rice to get the 300 and so recruits there so we can fill out our regiment of regulars as best we can. Let's also go ahead and purchase some more Brown Besses, because while we've captured a few, there's 38 more we can buy for 1,000. And I believe Jackson's whole regiment, not Jackson, Bush, his whole regiment here are using Brown Besses, which I can't see anymore because I pulled them out of the map. But I believe when I checked beforehand, they all have Brown Besses. So they won't be able to draw many reinforcements unless we give them more guns. But this episode is starting off with a naval battle, which we've only done one of in this game. I'm hoping this is a more even fight. The British have a frigate of about 2,800 troops. Or not 2,800 troops, 2,800 guns. Oh my God, 28 guns. It claims it's a 6th-rate corvette, but 28 guns was generally a frigate in this era. We've got 18 guns, which are counting as a 7th-rate brig, but again, in this era, that would be a sloop. But let's go ahead and fight. I'm not great at naval battles. Looks like we're already pretty damn close in with the enemy. Let's go ahead and pause here. I don't think we've taken much damage yet, because the battle started sort of while we were off the map. We have 45 member free crew members not involved in any tasks. I think we have 109 total crew. The wind is coming from the northwest, or at least to the top left of this map. This little red icon here indicates sort of where you'd be in the head of the wind. So what I had hoped was we could turn left and rake the bow of the enemy ship. That would put us head on into the wind, though. Not a good strategy. I don't really want to go broadside to broadside with them. They've got more guns, more weight of arms, presumably better trained. So let's do this. Let's try and take out their rigging. We're going to go the French route, try and destroy their rigging. And then we are going to turn to the right to get the wind sort of behind us a little bit. Pass quickly in the face of their guns, and maybe we can come up astern of them. I think. They pretty much have the weather gauge at this point by the looks of it, but let's see if that works. Now, by switching to chain shot, it is going to require those guns to reload, which is why these arcs of fire turned to red for a second, but that was quick enough. We have half sail set, which I guess are kind of like battle sail. Neither of these ships are moving very quickly at the moment. I don't think we have very well-trained seamen. But I'm going to move it. Oh my God. They fire almost like freaking machine guns at that rate, although it doesn't look like any of those. Our morale dropped on that salvo of enemy shells, but I don't know that any struck home, as far as I can tell. Another ineffectual shot by the enemy. Okay, that was an effect. Oh, they took a mast out. Fuck. So we did some rigging damage, but they took a whole frickin' mast out on us. They got 200 crewmen too. So that ain't good. You don't really want to give them their stern, though. That's the problem. Nor do you particularly want to be turning when you're trying to shoot. I don't know that I can do anything to repair that mast. Morale is low. I don't know if the boys are about to surrender after losing a mast. They might be. We're presenting our stern. I'm hopeful that we can turn through it. I don't know that shooting at the rigging makes much sense now. They kind of already won that battle. I think once we fire this next broadside, I'm going to straighten out because sailing straight and not turning is better for aim. I'm wondering if maybe switching to firing grape shot would be better if we can try and take out some of their crew. Oh God. Man, we lost stuff. Grape shot gives us much shorter range, which is a problem. You can see here our hull is not doing well. I believe this blue represents flotation. Red represents sort of a hypothetical armor or hull ability to withstand shot without resulting in damage to the crew members. And then I think yellow represents rigging, or maybe blue is rigging and yellow is hull. Sort of structural integrity of the ship being able to float. They basically just let me rake them, but my grape shot didn't do much damage. I think that's because the way the armor mechanic works is your grape shot's not going to be effective until you get rid of that armor. So we'll just switch to solid shot. This is not going very well. Although I will say that, like, the AI is not maneuvering in the most... I don't think the AI is maneuvering in a super intelligent way. They got off to a great start in this fight, but now they're head on into the wind and barely moving. Of course, broadside to broadside, they're going to probably crush us, but whatever damage we can do to them... Doing some hull damage by the looks of it. You can see those little hull icons coming up. 24, 6 there. Some pass-through shots going through the hull. But both our ships are just sort of sitting here, taking damage. I'm moving at accelerated speed because neither of these ships is moving particularly quickly. They're not bringing their broadside to bear. They're having trouble. They should be tacking, which means moving through the wind. and then you can come through the wind, tack through the wind, and then come back on the other side with the other broadside heading sort of parallel to us. But the AI seems to be just sailing in front of the wind and sitting there. They're finally shifting their sails here. Maybe they're gonna head back in the other direction, stay on the same tack. I don't know if the wind shifted a little bit. I wasn't paying super close attention there, but this fight is, I think, lasting longer than it should have, with us losing a mast right at the start. We're definitely giving a good account of ourselves, I'd say. I don't know if ammunition is a concern, like if ships can run out of ammo like units on land can. You can see their armor on this broadside, or on this sort of side of their ship, is getting low. That red icon there, which will then represent hull damage after you get rid of the armor, or the ability possibly to take out their crew more effectively. They can certainly outmaneuver me with a full press of sail. We are doing some damage to their crew. Of course, they are to us as well. We've lost about 30 crew members so far. I don't think I'm going to win, but I thought we would have struck by now, frankly. And I'll fight this to the death. Should have held fire until I had a better angle. But again, generally, like, this is effectively, this seems like it's Ultimate General or Ultimate Admiral Age of Sails naval combat sort of mechanics here. Although the AI seems to be doing worse here than in that game. So maybe some fine tuning for the game to do. Because again, they had considerably greater press of considerably greater weight of iron with their ship than us. And they're also sailing directly into the wind and not making any progress. We're down a mast. This fight should be over. And we're getting a little white icon here indicating that their morale is in trouble. So I don't know what to say other than this is not what I would expect, especially, you know, we're going up against the Royal Navy. This should be the best trained Navy in the world. And we're going to have to deal with trying to turn through the wind. But effectively, their armor, which I don't know that that's really a thing, but the hull integrity is gone on that side of the ship. I'm going to try and pivot back. I don't want to try and tack through. I can't remember if it's tacking or wearing. One of them is when you turn through the wind. One of them is when you turn with the wind directly at your back and get onto the other sort of tack. I think wearing is when you go through the wind. Actually, and tacking is when you go from sort of starboard to port. The wind in your face. But they're flooding. Let's see if we can get their crew. I mean, getting a little bit greedy here. That was not a very effective grape shot. We're also switching sides to the side that still notionally has armor. Ouch. That was a bad broadside for them. Did they just, oh, they sank. I was going to say, did they just surrender? So I guess the flooding got out of control. We saw that icon. That's another thing that and that was a thing with Ultimate Admiral Age of Sail as well. Didn't do a great job of, is like ships would surrender. They would not sink very often in this era. Wood is sort of naturally buoyant. And you had to do an incredible amount of damage. And typically when you're two ships firing smoothbore cannons at each other, you're going to fire cannons in a way that they're going to hit above the waterline most of the time. And unless there was really bad weather, like after Trafalgar or something like that, usually the majority of the enemy ships would surrender and would not actually be killed. Now the enemy has ships that are sort of screened by this sinking ship here. It looks like they put their men into boats. I suppose us sinking those boats would be... Oh no. The masts are laying down on top of those boats. they're in trouble. But we're also, you know, grape shotting those bastards in the open boats. Oh, one of them just went down with the mast. I will say that is one thing I loved about Ultimate Admiral Age of Sail, and apparently still in this game, is the way that things like, if the wind was too strong over one part of the ship and you were carrying too much sail, even if your ship statistically shouldn't sink yet from a hit point perspective, if your ship actually physically was overwhelmed by the wind, you could capsize. Or in this case, you just saw that rowboat, essentially, that surviving whatever, go down because the mast of the ship sort of crashed through it. Now, it probably would have happened more dramatically, more quickly in real life, but I don't think my grape shot sank it. I think that thing sank because the weight of the mast was crushing down on top of it. And as the ship sank, it sank too. I don't know if we should really be trying to kill all these guys. I guess this would probably be a war crime, but we just sank another boat of British sailors. They're not surrendering though. If they were surrendering, I'd take them as POWs, but they're just sitting in these boats. So, and I'm not going anywhere. So I don't know what happens if you let them survive. I don't know what happens if you let them die, but I guess they're all gone now. Anyway, back to global map. One ship, 28 guns, 18 guns, 110 crew, 195 crew, 45 of our crew. So about half our crew were casualties. Meanwhile, the enemy lost the whole ship and the whole crew. Victory! Yay! I wonder how much reputation that gives us. I don't really know how naval battles work on the strategic map. I was hoping to just get my ship down to Newport so we could form a little flotilla of 3 ships there with 18, 12, and 12 guns. Oh, I don't want to fight another battle. Oh my god, 48 guns. Can you retreat? Can you retreat? I can't command you, can I? I don't want to fight that battle. Well, we got some prestige. Can you just run? Or... All right, so we lose the ship. I don't like how that works. There's no flee mechanic in those battles. That seems foolish. In any event, that was a pretty big hit there by losing that ship. We lost 9 reputation for losing that ship to an enemy ship, despite the fact that we won the previous battle. All right. So you can lose a lot of reputation real fast in naval battles. Seems to be the general lesson. All right, let's get these boys from Albany to Fort Rice, so we can pull up the recruits from there, get them to full-ish strength. Meanwhile, you can see more muskets and recruits flooding into Saratoga. Not recruits, but it was showing more muskets showing up there. Meanwhile, apparently we are in financial straits. We are at negative 200 gold, which might also influence reputation, so we should probably fix that. So let's go to raising funds, and then just instantly spend 12 prestige to give me more cash. Where are those 600 boys going? King has a regiment here. Also, apparently Connecticut is only at 78% loyal now, but there's abandoned property. I'll take the cash. No, I don't want them to die. All right. Let's go find out what the hell's going on over here. The British sent a force south, perhaps to take Bennington. So we're going to fight a battle here. We are outnumbered by the enemy. They took Bennington. We've got regulars with Brown Besses. It's about the closest to an even fight, although we're heavily outnumbered in this fight. Bennington is our supply line to Hartford. The enemy has artillery. This is not a good situation to be in. My character is way off here to the side. Let's go ahead and rush these guys over here. Let's let the British come to us. Oh god. Artillery, not a good thing to be up against. Let's try and get into these woods. There seems to be some fog here. All right, so we got some nice cover, theoretically. We are outnumbered considerably. They've got 120, 120. So 480, 586 infantry. We've got 4 something. Now they're going to be advancing at least some of their units through open ground. They do have artillery though, which makes a big difference. Oh my god. Did you see these boys take those shells to the face? Is there a way to gang up on... So this is 226. Can't really gang up on them as I would like. Oh, they've got another 120 boys here. Just what I need. Okay. We're totally going to end up being in a melee here soon. Alright, they're routing. Maybe they'll rally before they run off the map. I don't know. I don't like our odds. The only positive is we got 100% conditioning here, but we're outnumbered. We also do have cover, and they don't at the moment. Of course, the enemy artillery's, in theory, firing into our flank and bouncing there. That salvo didn't go very well for them, but... So both these guys are ganging up on this right flank British unit. These guys gonna run, or any chance they're gonna... Now we're gonna get tired as we keep volleying away. Guys, come back. I can win this fight. Yeah, we drove back that regiment. Basically even odds with these 2 units charging forward. I'm assuming our fatigue will be greater, so we'll be driven back. Oh, we routed them. All right, we drove that company back of troops, while our other troops on the left flank here are melting. That was a good result. At least part of the fight went well. Other troops keep retreating. We're outnumbered like 300 to 50, so like 5 to 1 here on this firing line. Oh, we're in trouble. I suppose we could pull a considerable force of our troops and Albany over to retake this town. The artillery in the flank is a major problem. The two companies that have routed at least will be routing to survival, I suppose. As I don't think they're gonna rally. I mean, I suppose we do know one of the enemy companies sort of went up and over our flank. Yeah, you retreat. You do not fight a melee with those boys. All right, can we retreat? Can we get out of this battle? We lost 209 men. That's about half our force. They lost 187 men, nowhere near half their force, about a third, a little less than a third. Big. Can we pull them back to Albany? Ugh. What about the 500 troops we had at that other fort? Can we bring them in? Disruption of supply lines. Privateer vessels conducted raids along the British coastline, targeting coastal towns and villages. I get 12 provisions for that. Good. Hey, Fort Rice. Bring your boys out to Bennington. Saratoga. Bring your boys with Artie out to Bennington. King's regiment has been reformed. King was the regimental who fought at that previous battle for, was it Leicester or something, where they were nearly destroyed. Oh, I didn't want you to move into melee, you idiots. I don't want my regulars to get destroyed. Hey, rich patriots giving us money. Olive Branch petition. In a final attempt to avoid war between Great Britain and the 13 colonies in America, the Second Continental Congress adopted the Olive Branch petition. It's a little bit late for that, boys. The petition affirms the American loyalty to Great Britain and beseeches King George III to prevent further conflict. He refuses to read it. Tensions between the U.S. and France are declining. Tensions between the U.S. and Spain are declining. Tensions between the U.S. and Britain are rising. Well, I don't really know how tensions play into any sort of factor there, but okay. We know the British appear to be charging out of Bennington toward Bush. Evans is coming up as reinforcement. Vaughan is also, their conditioning is not going to be great. But if I can bring these boys in sort of together. I don't know where the enemy's going to retreat to. This is one of those scenarios where they may retreat toward vacant bases like Albany, which is a problem. But we now outnumber them, 448 and 324, and then the reinforcements of the regulars. So let's go ahead and, this is the Battle of Bennington Part 2. Part 2. I wonder if you keep getting donations. Like, do the Americans never go bankrupt, per se? If you're in deep financial crisis, do you just keep getting more boys? Or more dollars? Okay. Again, I need to look at some of these units on the map because some of these have to be militiamen, or not militiamen, Minutemen. If the problem is the militiamen units don't, or the Minutemen units are supposed to only have 100 men in their company, and these guys have 150. So I don't really know. Is it actually? You know what it might be? It might be the fact that, well, these guys don't have a trait. These guys don't have a trait. I was wondering if maybe it was like the company has a discipline or not trait, but that doesn't seem to be a thing. Maybe it's the officer who doesn't have it. I don't know. All right, we're going to try and converge on the enemy position here. Let's use this wood line. I'm assuming the enemy are in this mine or whatever this building is. It looks like it could be a mine shaft. Oh, there they are. All right, well, you pull back. You pull back. So do you. Because they've got more than 200 men. Meanwhile, what's going on over here? This is going to be another one of those disorienting fights, isn't it? All right, they got 2 companies over there. Unnumber those guns. Fire into their flank as they advance. You gotta get on the other side there, though. Pivot those guns around. We actually outnumber these 3 companies each. No, don't move. Just turn. There you go. Now shoot. Give me some grape. Hello? Oh, you're reloading. What's going on over here? They did drive back that quote-unquote disciplined company. Oh, I'm missing out the RD. Should we wait to see out the reload, or should we see how badly we're routing on this other flank? Oh god, they're meleeing? I didn't tell them to melee. Maybe that was dumb. I drove back them and they drove me back, but then I also meleeed, I guess. Go see if you can pursue those guys. Because their melee trait is much better than our militia. You can see the constant countdown of casualties here versus their much steadier reduction of men. Now, we do outnumber them, so there's that factor. And we routed. Okay, so I got those militia shot up to no purpose. This is going to be a bloody battle that delays my assault on Ticonderoga, which I suppose plays strongly into the British hands, I suppose. Alright, we're already exhausted, but I think with the manpower advantage we have, we are better off charging these boys than we are taking continuous fire and gradually being whittled down. Meanwhile, my regular boys will come up here to engage these British troops. Also, I gotta keep my general in mind because he can be killed. There you go. Good result there. Both those regiments are routed back. They're retreating. And so now the enemy's going to retreat, but we're like right there. I'd like to try and destroy some of these troops so that... I mean, I'm not going to destroy the whole force, which is unfortunate, but it would be nice to be able to do that. There you go. They surrendered. Yeah, maybe we'll destroy their artillery piece. Or get some POWs. I wish my general could charge. That'd be fun. You know, like Ridley Scott's Napoleon, drawing his saber. All right. Shoot the men as they retreat. Shoot them in the back. All right. So we had 1,000 men in the battle, lost about 270 men. The enemy had about 489 men. They lost about 280 men, plus 47 surrendered. So they lost about 3/4 of their force, most of their guns. We had 1 unit captured, it would look like. And they had nothing destroyed, which is unfortunate. They had several units heavily damaged, but nothing destroyed. Still, it's a victory that should allow us to retake Bennington and then shift our troops back to Albany. I'm hoping I don't have to pursue what's left of the enemy regiment toward sort of the interior of our lines. It does look like that's where they're retreating. Nope, they surrendered. Never mind. Hell yeah. All right, boys. Someone needs to go back and then... All right, these guys have cannons. So, Vaughn, you're going to go into Bennington, I suppose. Bush, you're going to go to Saratoga. We'll leave one unit behind to garrison Fort Rice from the enemy advancing out of the north. I suppose with King's surrender, though, that is a major help to us. Because it will ensure that at least one fewer field mobile unit is a threat. All right, project tree. Did I do the finance one? Yeah, I did. All right, let's go back to Continental Army then, I suppose. Nothing else seems super interesting. We're about 30 days away from getting Continental Army. Can you go take that? Okay, you did. Secret negotiations in a remote and neutral location away from the prying eyes of their respective armies. Representatives of the Continental Army and British forces met clandestinely after tense negotiations. They tentatively agreed to a brief truce for the purpose of exchanging prisoners of war. So we lose 50 POWs that we had taken and gain 50 manpower back, I guess. Not exactly what I would choose to do, but the game didn't give me a choice. Let's actually take our commander out and scout what's up at Fort Ticonderoga. We've got 55 days left to capture the city. Nothing seems to be happening in the east as far as we can tell. All right, so there's 1,400 troops, close to 1,500 troops at Fort Ticonderoga. Got to be careful when you use your general officer as a scout also, by the way, because they will die. And if they die, the game is over. So keep that in mind. All right. The 8th. So all of those reinforcements were added to the Saratoga garrison. Not enough muskets, not enough muskets. King George has refused to even read the declaration. Declared the colonies traitors. Tensions. We already read that. Bennington was recaptured. Project Engineers is finished. So we can either go with detailed maps, skilled craftsmen, which reduces research speed further. We can go with qualified engineers, which gives us the fur, rum, and cigar factories. That kind of gets more into like, hey, do you want to go down the total war sense of building up your economy? I also would like the ability to build new types of muskets. The U.S. musket, a typical composite piece produced by domestic gunsmiths using British and American components. The butt of the weapon is boldly marked the United States. Okay, so like you get better weapons. So I'm going to go down the skilled craftsman's route and keep researching stuff that is more long-term. It's a longer-term play. We get a little bit of that reputation back for that victory, by the way, in retaking Bennington. Leicester is, I mean, these boys have, looks like they've drawn almost all their reinforcements. So now we're up to almost basically 4,600 troops. I don't know why Newport is still not smoking. Is there a way to, because this building with this green line, to me, it tells me that it's under construction, that it's damaged. I don't know if there's a way to accelerate or ensure that it does get built. Like Bennington here also is smoking, which means the town hall's damaged. It's got that damage here. It doesn't have a lot of construction points to accelerate that, though. Anyway, not enough muskets. We also don't really have enough money. Project raising funds is done. Is there anywhere we'd want to raise a new regiment that we'd have enough manpower to do it? I think most of the manpower is sort of moving around the map, so we don't have a lot of just excess manpower. Not really. Okay. So we've got 2,300 troops at Saratoga. The enemy's got about 1,500 at Ticonderoga. Let's do one more day and see what happens here. If we wait to July 9th, see how much this changes. Did these guys not go in the fort? You should go in the fort. There you go. 23,399 or 23,339 or 2339 or whatever. 192 more muskets from foreign aid. Charleville 66s. All right. Meanwhile, we went up to 2390, so we gained about 50 some odd recruits. Is my math right? 51. Let's go see what's at Ticonderoga General. Still 1,400, about 1,500. Okay. All right. So we lost about 300 men at Fort Rice between all the fighting around Bennington. We lost a little bit of strength around Saratoga. We have, I'm curious about the market here. So it says Charleville 66s, which we now have 192 of. I don't know why we're getting those. It's a superior flintlock, muzzle-loading, smoothbore, French pattern 1766. Smaller and sturdier than the Brown Bess. Incremental changes in the design. So why is the 77 on here? Like, why are they giving us old weapons that I can't even buy in the market? I don't know the answer to that. But whatever, I guess I shouldn't complain, huh? Are the troops at Saratoga, are these guys the ones using Brown Besses? I think they are. They are. I don't have anything close to enough manpower to equip these troops fully. And going into battle with companies under 50 men seems unwise, but they're also the only regulars I have. Still, I think now that we lost the naval battle at the start of this fight, I don't know how long the British are going to wait to drive out of Boston. I think we should try and take Fort Ticonderoga. I'm hoping that the loss of these 600 troops or 500 troops that they sent from either Hubbington or Lovell or Stevens weakens their strength in the area. That makes it more possible for us to take Ticonderoga, but we've got a manpower advantage of about 900. And we should use that. We should use that while we have it. Civilian muskets are being produced. We got 11 in storage. So really, I think the muskets are being produced, with the exception of the Brown Besses, sufficient to our needs. Suppose we can buy the 11 that are not in stock. So we'll have 50 more replacements. But on, I'd say July 10th, we will begin the march out of Fort Saratoga. I feel like any further delay out west will only favor the British. Our reinforcements aren't going to come in fast enough, I don't think. Also, can I make... Let's do this. Let's make you the number 1 priority. With your 300, the number 2. I don't know why this is grayed out. Like, I don't... Founding a revolutionary newspaper. A group of passionate colonists established a newspaper focusing on spreading revolutionary ideas, rallying support, and countering British propaganda. This publication becomes a crucial source of information. Plus 4% loyalty in Kingston. Good. New York is one of our weaker areas. So not enough money for these boys. I suppose that's the problem. We got no money. We're negative balance. That's not good. That's going to affect their morale and fighting strength, isn't it? All right, we got to raise more funds. We're going to spend prestige. I don't like dropping our prestige into the 30 range. That's not good. Or the reputation. We're going to delay the drive out of Saratoga for one more day so we can get that money back, so we can pay our frickin' soldiers. Trying to go on the offensive with soldiers who don't have money is a bad idea, I think. Also, apparently our strength dropped there by about 100. I don't know if it's because we didn't have money or what. All right, so we got it all back and a little bit. We raised our funds, and somehow we're still not in great shape. I need more money. Work on Continental Army. Meanwhile, Quartermaster in Chief. Is there anything I can do that'll give me more money? Maybe a grain mill? We'll go with research speed. I don't know what else to do with those officers. I suppose we can reduce our factory commitments and produce fewer muskets. That'll solve one problem and create another. But additionally, looks like we're producing a little bit of textiles. I'm going to sell the 4 we have. Gives me a little bit of breathing room cash-wise. I don't know if we're like producing any of these things that we're not using. Maybe construction material in theory. Like we're not really producing it, but I don't know. I'm not producing guns right now, so I'm going to sell the copper that we have. I hate selling off resources like copper and whatever because you need it for guns, but I need 2,000 gold to pay my soldiers more than I need. That, and actually by doing that, by freeing that cash up, I'm going to get the factories back to what they were. Can buy one more Brown Bess musket. I suppose I could equip one of the companies of regulars with Charlevilles. So they need 120 of them. I don't like the idea of not having a standardized weapon, but I'll do that. That frees up 50 more Brown Besses to go to other units there. So we'll have 59 Brown Besses, I believe, that can be distributed out to these boys. In theory, we could also switch one of these other units out. We need... That would fill these units up a bit more. I don't really like doing that, though. All right. I know I keep saying next day, but I need to figure out the finances and see what we're looking at. So let's wait till July 12th. We'll see how much more we drop into the red. Suppose the other alternative is they keep giving you weapons you don't want to use. You can always sell those weapons. Ooh, 2,200 gold given to me. So now I'm at 4,000 gold. So the finances seem a bit better. We didn't get a huge penalty. We were able to draw enough weapons to equip the recruits, the new recruits this day. 13 Brown Besses. Can I buy any more? Did any more come to the market? No. The other alternative is buying some Spanish 70 or 55s or Charleville 77s or just civilian muskets. But I don't even have enough recruits at the moment. There's no penalty right now of not enough muskets for the troops at Saratoga. It's not enough other things. So we're up by almost 1,000 men over the troops at Fort Ticonderoga. We have no idea. Oh my God, we lost 300 men at Providence. This has to be due to lack of pay that one day. And then not enough weapons to replace it with the new recruits that came in after. So I don't know how long I can hold this strong force over in the East at the current financial situation of the rebellion. I need to work on those things, but Ticonderoga will give us some gold too. 4,000 gold in the financial bucket is nice. We'll get some guns, I think, if we take Ticonderoga. I thought this episode would be the episode that we drive on Ticonderoga, but we've been going for almost 50 minutes now already. So we fought our naval battle. We fought a couple of land battles. And we did some logistics. That'll be that for today's episode. And tomorrow's episode will be the assault on Fort Ticonderoga. Once again, I hope you guys are enjoying this series. Please leave your thoughts down below. And as always, until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.